A dazzling evening, brimming with the city's elite, takes an unforeseen twist when a security guard makes a mistake that will haunt him forever. But what happens when the truth dawns on him? Too late? Let us know in the comments below. Olivia Carter stepped out of the sleek, black town car with effortless grace, her deep emerald gown hugging her figure as if it had been designed solely for this moment. This event had been labeled the corporate gathering of the year, an exclusive VIP affair reserved for the most influential minds in the industry. And tonight, Olivia Carter wasn't just another guest. She was the reason half the room had even shown up. But as she approached the grand entrance of the Hilton Sapphire Ballroom, it wasn't the towering, gold-plated chandeliers visible through the glass doors that first caught her attention. Nor was it the soft jazz music drifting through the air, setting the perfect tone for an evening drenched in wealth and power. No, it was that stare. That stare, one she recognized all too well. It came from the security guard standing near the entrance. A tall, broad-shouldered man gripping a clipboard in one hand, an earpiece snug in the other. His gaze swept through the line of arriving guests with quick efficiency until it landed on her. Then something shifted. A flicker of doubt. An unspoken question. Olivia already knew where this was going. The moment she stepped forward, he moved to block her path. "Ma'am, this area is for VIPs only," he stated, his tone neutral but firm. Olivia tilted her head just slightly, her perfectly coiled curls bouncing against her shoulders. "I know," she replied smoothly, offering a polite but knowing smile. "That's why I'm here." His eyes flicked over her, scanning, as if he expected her to pull out some kind of golden ticket. She exhaled through her nose. She wouldn't make a scene. Not here. Not yet. Olivia Carter. She saw the moment her name meant absolutely nothing to him. His expression remained unchanged, no sign of recognition, no hint of realization. "I don't see your name on the list," he said, his voice carrying a sharper edge now. Olivia adjusted the diamond bracelet on her wrist. "That's interesting," she murmured, "because I was personally invited. Do you have an invitation on you?" Her perfectly sculpted brow arched. An invitation? She could feel the stares now. The way other guests breezed past with nothing more than a nod from this same guard. No one else had been asked for an invitation. No one else had been stopped. Her patience thinned. "I wasn't given a physical invitation," she said, keeping her voice steady, "because I'm the keynote speaker." The guard blinked. Then he laughed. A short, disbelieving chuckle. "You're the keynote speaker," she repeated, head tilting slightly. "The one headlining this event. The reason this entire night was put together." Silence stretched between them. Olivia waited. This was the moment he should have realized his mistake. The moment understanding should have dawned on him. But instead, she saw something else. Something that made her stomach tighten. Doubt. Not the kind born from confusion. The kind born from bias. He didn't believe her. She saw it. In the way his eyes swept over her again, taking in the designer gown, the sparkling jewelry, the meticulously manicured nails. He was searching for something. Anything that didn't fit. "I still can't let you in," he said, standing even taller. "Not without proof." Olivia inhaled slowly, closing her eyes for just half a second. The words that followed left a bitter taste on her tongue. But she had played this game before. "I suggest," she said, her voice now carrying a razor-sharp edge, "that you call whoever is in charge. Because if you continue standing in my way, I promise you're going to regret it." The guard's lips pressed into a tight line. For a brief moment, Olivia thought, hoped, he'd realize how deep a hole he was digging himself into. But then he did the worst thing he could have done. He gestured toward the back of the line. "You're going to need to step aside, ma'am." The words sliced through her like a blade. Not because they were sharp, but because she had heard them before. The way he said it, so casual, so routine. Like he had uttered those very words 100 times before. Like this was nothing more than standard policy. Like he wasn't actively humiliating a woman whose face was plastered all over the event's press release. A slow, cold anger crept up Olivia's spine. She could make a scene right now. She could raise her voice, demand justice, demand recognition, demand that he acknowledge the blatant discrimination woven into this entire interaction. But she didn't. Because Olivia Carter wasn't just a black woman in a designer gown trying to get into a party. She was a woman who understood power. And right now, his was nothing but an illusion. So instead of arguing, instead of fighting, she did something that threw him completely off balance. She smiled. Not a warm, inviting smile. No, the kind that told him, clear as day, that he had just made the biggest mistake of his life. And without another word, she turned on her heel, pulled out her phone, and made the call that would flip this entire event on its head. What that security guard didn't know, what he was about to find out the hard way, was that Olivia Carter was not someone you dismissed. Not now. Not ever. And, in less than 10 minutes, he was going to realize just how badly he had messed up. The moment Olivia Carter walked away from that security checkpoint, the countdown began on a mistake that could not be undone. Brent Wallace, that was the name printed neatly on his security badge, watched her leave with a smug sense of satisfaction. Adjusting his stance, he seemed to believe he had done his job well. That satisfaction didn't last long. Because barely 5 minutes later, the consequences of his decision came crashing down like a wrecking ball. Inside the ballroom, the atmosphere buzzed with energy. The city's top executives, entrepreneurs, and media moguls mingled beneath the golden chandeliers, champagne glasses in hand, exchanging the kind of polished small talk that kept the corporate world spinning. At the far end of the room, near the stage, Elliot Ramsey, CEO of Ramsey Global Investments and the night's biggest sponsor, was deep in conversation with board members when his phone buzzed. At first, he ignored it. Then it buzzed again. And again. Irritated, he pulled it from his pocket and glanced at the screen. His assistant's name flashed across it, along with a message that made his blood run cold. You need to fix this now. Olivia Carter is locked outside. Security won't let her in. Elliot barely needed to read past Olivia Carter. His head snapped up, his normally composed demeanor cracking as he quickly scanned the room. "Where's Olivia?" he demanded, abruptly cutting off a board member mid-sentence. The woman beside him furrowed her brow. "She hasn't arrived yet, has she?" Elliot didn't answer. He was already moving. Weaving through the crowd, his mind raced. How the hell did they manage to keep out the one person this entire event revolved around? Meanwhile, outside, Olivia stood near the valet station, scrolling through her phone, her expression unreadable. Cold. Unshaken. She had made the call. Now, she was simply waiting. She felt the shift in energy before she even saw him. The moment Elliot burst through the ballroom doors, his breath hitched, his dress shoes hitting the pavement too fast, his panic radiating off him like heat off asphalt. Olivia, she didn't look up right away. She let the moment linger, let the tension build. Then, slowly, she lifted her gaze and met his. Elliot came to a breathless halt. His normally polished, controlled appearance was ruffled, a testament to just how fast he had moved. "I just got the call," he said, his voice tight with barely restrained anger. "Please tell me this isn't what I think it is." Olivia's expression didn't waver. "Oh, it's exactly what you think it is." Elliot's jaw tensed as he turned sharply, his glare cutting through the air like a blade until it landed on Brent Wallace, still standing at the entrance, still oblivious to just how far past screwed he was. "You," Elliot barked, storming over. "Tell me you didn't just block the keynote speaker from entering." Brent's confidence flickered, but only for a second. "Sir, I was just following protocol," he replied, standing firm. "She didn't have an invitation, and her name wasn't on the—" "You're joking." Elliot cut him off, his voice dangerously low. Brent hesitated. "Look, I was just doing my job," he continued, his tone edging toward defensive. "She said she was the speaker, but people claim all sorts of things." Elliot let out a sharp, humorless laugh. "Oh, I can promise you, Olivia Carter doesn't need to claim anything." Then his tone darkened. "Let me guess. You saw a black woman in a couture gown and decided she couldn't possibly be the one meant to take that stage tonight? You didn't think to check." Brent's mouth opened, then closed. Because he hadn't checked. he hadn't even thought to. And suddenly, the smug certainty he had worn just moments ago, it vanished.